in section 2 or in section 4.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Binda.
Josh, you're on mute.
Yes, thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Mayor Frizzell. I'm going to give a full statement on what had transpired during this whole time period and what went down. And as we like to state, Councilmember Decker states, Councilmember Sessions is the policy. And I'm not focused on opinions. I'm focused on what the policy says. What it does say that we have to do as council members in the process of things. But I will state the entire process of what went down, what transpired, and the request I had made in advance as well. I had reached out to our city assistant to register me for the conference. Council President Sessions said about 2-3 weeks in advance, which as council members, we all have a budget within our restraints to go to conferences, to go to things for educational purposes. We all have that within our biannual budgets to choose to go to. So I made that request to Lisa and asked if she could register me for the NLC conference, and tried to go through the proper process of making sure it's getting done right. And Lisa had told me, yeah, we'll get you registered, we'll get everything set, and we'll get things going. I was like, great, thank you. After that was set in stone with Lisa, after that phone call, I was called about an hour later by Council President Sessions. And with this phone call, this is what transpired. Council President Sessions telling me that I'm not going and that I needed to be quote unquote approved by council leadership to attend. When I challenged why that was, I was met with, because I'm telling you so. And when I brought up that I wanted to talk to legal about this matter, was met with, I'm ignorant, and I wanted it to, and that if I wanted to be put on our agenda the following Monday for a vote, that could happen, but that would be quote unquote embarrassing for me. And which was met up with a follow-up email from our city assistant on behalf of council leadership that would not be allocated funding until council approval. Because of time constraints, I decided not to go to legal and pay on the front end of the conference. I had come to find out that other council member who had attended, Councilmember Altamirano Crosby, had been fully funded by the city without council approval needed or brought to a vote by the council as well. Once I had found this out, upon return from the conference, I had publicly requested a reimbursement as another councilman had gone fully funded and I wasn't. Instead of being asked by questions from council leadership about what had transpired while I was in DC and what went down, I was met with accusations and lies put out by our council president, including the following: that one, I was not a keynote speaker at NLC conference and was a panelist, which she also went to media outlets to discredit me with. Two, I had not fulfilled council duties while being there and had only been there for my own connections and selfish gain. And three, I needed to get approved by council leadership in order to go on a conference, and it was unauthorized, quote unquote unauthorized, which she also had gone to media outlets with this misinformation with as well, and publicly stated that I wouldn't be reimbursed as well, according to certain media outlets. Here are the actual facts. I indeed was a keynote speaker on behalf of the youth delegates closing session, as was testified earlier by the youth organizers themselves, who had asked me to do so as well, and witnessed also these sessions I had attended as part of my council duties, one being the Youth Education and Families Council session, which was hosted with other elected officials as well. I've also sent Lisa video proof evidence of this as well. And also with the NBC Neo session that I attended, I'd also sent, which I heard another constituent say that they didn't think I attended. I'd also sent Lisa video proof of this as well, which is also on my social media, Instagram as well. And also, according to being approved by council leadership, the council session says she told me I wouldn't be approved. That was misinformation put out by council leadership, as recalled with our travel policy. All travel, it's let me see here. It's section 2A. All travel, education, or training expenditures by city council members and mayor shall be at their discretion, provided, however, that each council member shall not exceed the amount allocated in the biennial budget for the council member travel, education, and training. And on behalf of everything I just stated, it is to my own discretion what council events I go to, what conferences I go to that's funded. It is not, there's no such thing as getting approved through council president leadership. That is something that was made up on our council president and used as a tactic to bully and intimidate me on our phone calls and to the media and to certain people to make it seem like I needed authorization from her to go when that is not what is in the policy. If we're focused on the policy, if we're focused on what it says, then that is completely false, completely put up, a false narrative put up by council leadership. And that is not something I ever needed approved from to go on this NLC trip or at all. And so I went fully in a legal way to these NLC conference, handled completely legal duties as a council member that I did, and attended the things I felt necessary as a council member to represent the people and bring back. Was not asked by council leadership what that was, and was met with just accusations and false things put out there to the public and to the media in order to discredit me. And because of those narratives, because another council member was also funded, and because it was in with every bit of my right to go without being approved by council leadership, that is why I came back and requested a reimbursement for this trip, as it was in my right to go to this trip and be a part of this conference on behalf as a Lynnwood representative, which I also sent Lisa a picture of that as well. It shows me being there as a city council member representative. And it's only right for me to have been reimbursed for that, for representing the city and having to fund that on my own on the front end, because I was told by council leadership that I had to get approved by her and was intimidated to not go through the process because of that. And that's why I requested that reimbursement, and that's why I stand with what I had said earlier. And I really think it's really unfortunate. This is a clear case of abuse of power, abuse of a position. There's nothing that says anywhere that I had to get approved by council leadership in order to go to this. And to have that kind of misinformation when the policy says it's completely different is completely wrong. And so I stand by what I said. Thank you.